Let's taste this again. Can we
Okay.
taste this again? This is pasta with a creamy pumpkin sauce and roasted hazelnuts. Oh, man. This is either so good or I'm so hungry.
Delicious, Amy.
Don't you like it?
The hazelnut really brought an extra flavor.
Hi, I'm Amy, and we're back. We're in my little kitchen. Amy Roloff, by the way, just in case you guys didn't know. Anyway, I'm in my little kitchen, and my little kitchen, if you didn't know as well, is in my home. So, anyway, we're kind of, I'm not ready yet, but we're kind of slowly creeping into fall. And because, you know, I used to live on a farm, we did pumpkin season. I'm always trying to, you know, see about the subtleties of using pumpkin other than just something that's sweet. And a lot of times when you use your canned pumpkin or other recipes, it's really using butternut squash, tell you, because they're so similar. And you know, you get butternut squash in a grocery store lasting a lot longer and more available than you do an actual pumpkin. So I think that's one of the reasons why they use a lot of butternut squash more. But anyway, beside the point. So we are making pasta with a creamy pumpkin sauce, and why not throw in some roasted hazelnuts? So that's what we're making. And this is a great dish because you can have it by itself, serve it with a green salad, or add a protein to it. I think pork medallions would be great. Complement it with a little bit of sage and like a nice brown butter kind of wine sauce to it. Definitely chicken. Chicken will go well. You know, even fish, if you want to throw in fish with it, you know, or on the side, complementing it on the side. So anyway, we're going to make pasta with a creamy pumpkin sauce and roasted hazelnuts. So I've got my pasta water cooking over here. Definitely add enough salt in your pasta water because you're going to want some of that pasta water to incorporate in the sauce, but also that adds flavor and the pasta really soaks it in. But when you do that, be careful of what salt you are using in your dish because your pasta is already going to be salted too. I'm very salt self-conscious, I think. I love salt, but you can overdo it. So anyway, let's get going here. Where do I even start? First of all, we're going to add onions to it. I just have, you know, a sweet onion here. I already had a little bit of chopped up. Why don't I get a little bowl for this? But I need some more onions in here. This is not enough. This is barely a couple of tablespoons. So I want at least like a quarter of a cup, maybe a third of a cup. I don't want the onion to overpower the pumpkin. And the one thing I really like about pumpkin, it definitely has its own flavor, but it's kind of a neutral flavor. And it'll take on the other flavors that you put with it. So I don't want to overpower that rich, nice pumpkin. So we're just gonna, I'm not gonna finely chop this, but I just want them in small little chunks. I don't want large chunks of onion because we are going to somewhat puree this. Now, if you guys are used to making a sauce in a blender, go for it. I just think that's an extra set of and if you really want it puree, I think it's just an extra set of equipment for this very easy, simple dish. And so I just use my immersion blender because you can do it right there in the pot. I think I gotta get some butter out because if we're gonna have a sauce, let's use butter. And if you don't want to use butter, you can use olive oil too. So we have maybe, I don't know, this is about a quarter of a cup. So I would say definitely a third of a cup. We've got about a third of a cup of onions chopped. I'm going to use one large clove of garlic. And this is pretty large, wouldn't you think? Sometimes they don't come that large when you buy them in the grocery store. But I'm going to let the onions cook a little bit before I add this garlic. Because the one thing I don't want to happen, brown and burn the garlic because it just becomes bitter. And I didn't get fresh sage. I didn't plant a fresh sage pot or herb. That would have been really good. I think of that more with pork and beef and, you know, fall, but sage can go with a lot of stuff, even in the summertime. Okay, so I got my garlic. Gotta look at my cheat sheet. Okay, I'm gonna add the garlic and the sage later. So I just have a little bit left over, but I would probably use at least a teaspoon of sage. I want that, you know, that herby, earthy flavor to it. So we're gonna head on over to my saucepan and start heating up that butter and sauteing the onions. Okay, so I just need a couple of tablespoons of butter. Well, really a tablespoon. I don't think you need a couple. Oh, about a tablespoon and a half. Probably too much, but. So about a tablespoon of butter, just to, or if you want to just drizzle olive oil in your saucepan, that'll work too. So then we'll just do our onions and our garlic, and then we'll add our sage, and we're getting ready to go. And you don't want to cook, you know, the onions too quick because you don't want them really brown. You just really want them a little bit translucent and soft. Of course, if you got them translucent, the onions will be soft. Okay, so this will take a few minutes to do. And in the meantime, my water is boiling in my pasta. And pasta, I think this, with this kind of pumpkin sauce, this will go well with penne pasta or orchetta. It's not quite like a shell pasta, but it's got kind of that little dip. And the one thing that works well, because the pumpkin sauce can kind of sit in the pasta, or it hangs on to the penne and may go into the center of it. I think this pappardelle is a nice noodle. It's not too heavy, but you know, if you wanted, you could use fettuccine. You know, you can use it with spaghetti, but I don't think that works as well. So anyway, this is about 8 ounces. I would recommend probably double this for the amount of sauce we're making, but so follow my recipe, because I'm not making as much of this dish. I only used about a half of an onion, where I would use 1 onion, 2 cloves of garlic, about a couple of teaspoons of sage, and then we'll get to the sauce later because we use a whole can of pumpkin, but I'm going to use a little bit less, but a whole can of pumpkin. And then some cheese, obviously some cheese, mascarpone, or you can substitute cream cheese. Did I say that right, Lisa?
Yeah, mascarpone.
Mascarpone. Whenever I say that word, I think of the mafia. Isn't that terrible? Anyway, that's the name of it, mascarpone.
Like Al Capone?
Yeah, like Al Capone. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so mascarpone cheese. But if you don't have that, cream cheese. Most people have cream cheese. Cream cheese will work well too. A little bit of parm and stuff like that. So anyway, let's get that rolling. Oh yeah. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Okay, this has got a little bit more to go. I think that's it. Because once this is done, then we add the pumpkin. Then we get that all warmed up. Then we add the cheese. Get that all mixed up. And this is the part where if you really insist on a very puree sauce, use your blender. But that's what I'm going to use. Yes! I'm going to use my immersion blender. I love this little tool. Okay, we're going to add in our little garlic. 1 whole garlic. We're going to let that saute for a little bit. Well, I tell you, if you guys could smell the garlic and onion, I mean,
It smells so
hello. Especially with that little bit of butter. Oh yeah. Okay, I probably would have added a couple of teaspoons. I don't have enough sage in here, but I'm just going to add what I have. And it's dried sage. Oh, so good. And one of the reasons why I didn't add salt right away to when I was sauteing the onions was because it draws out too much water, and I really wanted the butter to incorporate in with the onions and get that flavor. And so unsalted butter is probably better. And then, so yeah, anyway, what else? Oh, the pumpkin puree. So pumpkin puree. Ooh, so we're gonna warm up the pumpkin puree. Pumpkin was a little stiff than I thought, more stiff than I thought. Okay, the one thing I forgot to do over here, you guys, I forgot to shred or grate my Parmesan cheese. So we're gonna do that right now. And then I'll add my, I'm choosing to use cream cheese because I couldn't find, the grocery store I went to didn't have mascarpone cheese. So this will probably be about a 1/4 cup of Parm. I'm waiting for the noodles to be done because I want to incorporate some of that lovely pasta water into the sauce. And you will probably need at least a cup, if not more. And because this is like a ribbon noodle, you definitely want to make sure it's al dente. Look at that. Why won't it wrap around? Oh, there we go. Are we going? Oh no, we're not. What? Okay. Well, the noodle is too hot, people. It's good. But it's not al dente. It's still a little too stiff. Okay, so we're going to go back over to the stove and finish up our sauce. So I've got the pumpkin in here. I drained my pasta. This is the pasta water. I took probably more than what I need, but it's always best to have more than what you need because after you drain the pasta, guess what? Even if you needed more, you can't get it back. So I'm definitely going to try and add about a cup. Well, I'll start off with a 1/2 cup first. Turn my heat back on. We're just going to kind of mix in the cheese, get that all warmed up again. So this is what it looks like. You add a little bit of the pasta water. You're mixing in the onions and the garlic that you just got done sauteing with 1 can of pumpkin puree. And it really depends on how thick you want your sauce. But I'm going to go ahead and add in a little bit more pasta water because, I mean, it's there, but I don't want it to be thick. I want it to be a little moist because when it's too thick, I think it adheres to the pasta, but then it becomes too dry. I'm just going to add a little bit more pasta water in here. And the thing is, pasta water has flavor, but it'll also help thicken it up. So, and then I add in about a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. Then I add in, I did cream cheese, but if you got mascarpone, feel free to add that. And this again is probably about a 1/4 to a 1/2 cup. I'm going to mix that in. And this also will help thicken your sauce. Now, if you so choose, and you want a puree, guess what? You can pour all of this stuff, and you'll probably have to do it in a couple of batches in your blender. However, I love this tool, my immersion blender. Look at this, man. Is this not easy? Much easier than a blender? And what I'm doing is really pureeing or really fine chopping or whatever you want to call it, the onions and the garlic. And we're just going to mix it in. Just make sure everything's mixed in. And tell you the truth, I probably added a little bit too much pasta water, thinking I needed it, but I didn't. Because I probably added it before I used my immersion blender. So that's probably why I won't use so much sauce. So anyway, pasta. And see how the pasta will absorb the sauce? Pasta will absorb the sauce. So I'm just going to do this a little bit at a time because I think I did make my sauce too runny. That's okay. My motto is Every little thing gonna be alright. Oh, look at that. See, the pasta just absorbs this sauce. See? A little bit more. So here we go. We've got pasta with a nice, mellow, but very flavorful pumpkin, a creamy pumpkin sauce. And before I do all the herbs and stuff like that, I am going to put in just a little bit of thyme, not too much. Thyme can be very powerful depending on the dish. Obviously in a rich tomato sauce, you know, it works well. But for something like this, that this pumpkin sauce is kind of like soft, you don't want the thyme to overpower it. So I'm just doing like 3 little small sprigs of thyme. And then we're just gonna chop in a little bit of chives. But I wanna use the rest of it for garnish. You can leave it all in one pot. Depends on if you're making this into one meal, or this could be a side dish too, like I said. I'm just gonna, I should probably use a fork and make this all pretty. Twirl it around. Whoa. I told you this pappardelle is like ribbons, nice little ribbons of pasta. If I was a food stylist, I'd probably get a nice little wet piece of paper towel and clean that up over there. But hey, this is Amy's cooking show. And we're gonna just do a little more chives. First of all, we're gonna do a little more, we're just gonna grate a little bit of parm over here. I have made a sauce like this years ago, and I can't even find my own recipe for it, so I, you know, kind of modifying this one. Okay, there you go, people. Does this not look good or what? Huh? Okay, I'm ready to eat. Can we eat? Let's eat. Lisa, you want to come over here and eat with me?
Yes, I'm ready.
Let's take a bite.
Okay.
We'll take a bite in all this mess.
Okay.
Okay. I cannot wait. Now you tell me if I should have added more salt or something.
It looks amazing. Okay, I'm trying to be nice and twirl.
Mmm. The thing I love about this sauce is all the ingredients that are in it complement the pumpkin. And so there's nothing that really overpowers it, unless you want it to. But I really taste the pumpkin flavor over this.
Delicious.
So anyway, of course I forget some. Lisa reminds me, but I forgot some. This is a key element to this. It's a nice little garnish. I went ahead and, yeah, you want to show that? I went ahead and roasted hazelnuts already.
Hazelnuts.
You can put these in the oven. And the one thing that's good about the oven is you can, you know, do a lot more and just take off the
Skin.
the brown skin on them. But if you want the brown skin, but no, you don't want the brown skin in your food. Especially when you roast them like this and they all come off. And if they don't come off, they'll probably come off when you're chopping them up. But anyway, I went ahead and roasted these in the oven, and I put my oven on roast. I probably took maybe about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes.
Oh.
I just put them in a little baggie, and I'm going to crush up a little bit. Because you don't want big, huge chunks. But you just want enough just to be complementing the dish.
Extra flavor.
A little flavor and a little bit of crunch. Okay, well, there's some big pieces in here, but yeah.
Okay. Ooh. And it just kind of finishes the dish.
It does. Let's taste this again. Can we taste this again? This is pasta with a creamy pumpkin sauce and roasted hazelnuts. Oh, man. This is either so good or I'm so hungry.
Delicious. Amy.
Oh, you like it?
The hazelnut really brought an extra flavor.
And texture. Okay. Well, you guys, you know what?
Wow. Fun.
Can we just keep eating in front of you? I don't know.
You have pasta on your lid.
I know. That's why I love wearing an apron, you guys. And sometimes, instead of adding more salt to your pasta, the Parmesan cheese has a lot of salt in it too. Just add a little bit extra as a garnish to your pasta, and that'll incorporate some of that saltiness. But
Yeah.
I love it.
Delicious.
Love it. And I hope you give this a try. So check out Amy Roloff's Little Kitchen on my YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. Or you can always go to amyrolofflittlekitchen.com.
Yeah.
But you'll find this recipe and all the other recipes that I'm doing
So good.
over on my YouTube channel. But I will repeat, always follow the recipe. I sometimes don't always get it right on my video, so I so apologize to this. Today I've got some extra people helping me do these videos, but typically it is just me, and I just forget. So anyway, check it out, Amy Roloff's Little Kitchen. I hope you give this a try.
Yummy.
All right.
Thanks, friends.